discuss three things about elephant ivory. First, why the price matters. Second, how the consumers react to price changes. And third, how the producers react to price changes. So first, why the price matters. Price for elephant ivory isn't as important as normal things like groceries or whatever, because it's a luxury item. So no matter how much it costs, there will still probably be a demand for ivory because it's just a status symbol. It's believed to, in multiple countries like China or the Philippines, to give good luck, and people just want it as a status symbol. So there's always going to be some sort of demand for ivory, no matter how high the price goes. So I guess what I'm trying to say is the price doesn't matter as much as most things, like what brand of cereal you get or what kind of car you buy. It just doesn't matter as much. But there are a couple of interesting things that happen if the market changes and if the price changes for ivory. So I'll just go into how consumers react to the price changes next. And consumers, like I said, they're always going to want ivory, no matter how much it costs. They might buy more if the price decreases, but if it increases, there's still probably going to be people that want ivory because it's a status symbol, or people might just like it for decoration or jewelry, or they believe that it gives good luck, or things along those lines. And then finally, I'm just going to go how the producers react to the changes in price for ivory. And they react in a different way, because if the price goes down, they're not going to risk illegal hunting in order to get ivory. They're going to stop hunting if it's not worth the risk that they're taking, if they're not going to get enough money from it. And then if they're getting a lot of money, then they're going to do a lot of hunting for the ivory because everybody wants it, it's selling for a lot of money, and they're making a lot of money. So that's basically it. Thanks.
Due to high demand of ivory, the market among poachers is very competitive. The goal of banning international ivory was to reduce the poaching of elephants and in turn their protection. However, the result has been counterproductive since the UN ban in 1989. Restricting supply in a time of increasing wealth in Asia has driven prices up, increasing incentives and reward for poachers. According to Douglas McMillan, professor of biodiversity economics at the Durrell Institute, he states, rather, the restrictions under which this one-off sale was permitted might have triggered large-scale poaching of elephants. Market speculators, who probably started investing in raw ivory during the global financial crisis, started stockpiling in anticipation that black market price would increase because of scarcity during the sale. Indeed, the black market price of ivory skyrocketed between 2008 and 2014.
The price of a product is determined by the demand of the product, the supply of the product, the travel and operation costs, and the overall product image. Ivory is used in different forms, but it's mainly sold as carvings or jewelry. So the larger the carving and jewelry, the more expensive it will be. The average price paid by craftsmen for ivory is around $2,100 per kilogram. One factor that could affect the price of ivory is the elephant population decreasing, and since it would be more scarce, it would most likely become more expensive. Same with if they put a ban on ivory, then it would most likely become more expensive since it's harder to get.
When there is a price change to ivory, the consumers most likely won't cut back from consuming it because ivory is considered a white gold to most consumers, and the producers that are producing the ivory, they cut back on producing it because there's such a increase in money for them to be able to go and hunt illegally. So they cut back on hunting because they don't have enough money to pay for an illegal hunt. but that doesn't really faze the consumers because they're still getting what they call white gold, and they still are consuming it because it is such a high fashion to most consumers.
An alternative to price setting would be to do a pricing at a premium method, which is basically just charging lots of money for it, to increase the product image of it being a very exclusive and high-end product. Ivory has the power to increase a person's image, so it'd make the most sense to charge a lot for it.
From a population standpoint, older male elephants are very important to the health and genetic fertility of a population. Cynthia Moss, who has led the Elephant Research Project in Kenya since 1972, states while hunters in the past have used the belief that older males are reproductively senile as an argument for killing them for their ivory, research has revealed that they are in fact an elephant's population's primary breeder. By living to an older age, they have traits of good health to pass to their offspring. Killing these males compromises the next generation of the population. This article examines that the poaching of these elephants, especially the popularity of male elephants, not only affects the villages and their livelihood, but the whole population and generations to come for elephants. Because African elephants are critical elements of the ecosystem in many African habitats, the depletion of elephant populations is a serious concern. The population of Africa's forest elephants has shrunk by 60% in the past decade, and there are recent signs of increasing stress on several elephant communities. Most of this stress can be directly linked to poaching for the illegal but highly profitable trade in ivory. Not only does it present a threat to wildlife, but it also threatens peace and security in a number of countries where organized crime and terrorism are often close linked. There are a lot of other products to use instead of ivory. Artificial substances like celluloid and other plastics have been used as ivory replacements, but they lack the appeal of naturally occurring fibers and polymers. And their widespread use brings concerns related to the slow degradation rates of plastics in the biosphere. Vegetable ivory, also named Gerina, resembles closely the appearance of elephant ivory while offering many desirable physical characteristics like biodegradability, conformality, and other outstanding mechanical properties. In recent years, environmental concerns regarding the biodegradability of plastic has motivated the rediscovery of the Gerina seed. For certain purposes of luxury and to enhance social status in a person's image, ivory could be replaced with antlers, bones, white coral, white jade, tagua nut, and wood. Tagua nut would stand the best chance of being the most sustainable. This nut is very eco-friendly source and has a wide array of colors beyond white and is a very flexible art material, which resembles ivory very well.
When it comes to hunting elephants, I think that the government should have a higher restriction on hunting because a bunch of our elephant population is due to poaching because of the ivory, and poachers just want to make a big profit off of ivory because they know it sells for a fair price and they know that the consumers will pay that price because they think that ivory is a white gold. But I also believe that the government should obtain a certain law that they put more fish and game out on areas that have higher population of elephants, because when a poacher poaches an elephant, they just leave the body to decompose, and then when the body's left there to decompose, it sets an impact on the whole environment because it takes a long time for the body to disappear. About 72% of the population of elephants is deceased because of poaching. So I believe that there should be higher consequences set for people who decide to poach.
We're going to cover a few conclusionary questions, including: are these external effects positive or negative? How do you quantify them? Who should be in charge of enforcing those corrections, and should they even be corrected in the first place? Per the innate conclusion, subset casualties pertaining to the international trade of ivory presents a majorly negative effect although it can be argued that economically it might introduce a positive economic bounty to the communities around that are already economically struggling. The effects of illegal ivory trading remains extremely negatively overbalanced. You may quantify these subprimary effects by comparing the net benefit side by side to the net combination of its negative aspects. Little to no net benefit economically, environmentally, politically, or morally comes of illegally poaching elephants. To simplify, due to the ivory not being a critical resource or sustainable trading commodity, quantifiably from a utilitarianistic perspective, the resource bears no positive weight while presenting only a burden to a plethora of subject categories, making the subset effects only negative. Let's say you poach an elephant, and let's say the ivory collected from that elephant is worth $100,000. Where is that $100,000 going? Pushed into a local economy, invested into something noting of progress? No, the money probably goes to the poachers. And what do you think the poachers spend that money on? Probably poaching more elephants and not into the communities surrounding them that are impoverished and suffering. You could argue that the poachers would spend the money in the local communities and markets, but honestly they would end up buying those same things regardless of the amount of elephants they have poached, because in turn they are criminals. Now that $100,000, if not spent on those amounts of illegal ivory, are staying in the pockets of those wealthy buyers. And where do you think that money in those pockets are going to go? Maybe to something else illegal, but maybe into their local economies, pursuing growth and economic prosperity where they are. The local government should be in charge of protecting the local elephant populations, and in turn the local communities should in turn take charge of their surroundings as best they can to prevent criminal activities by working with local law enforcement and government officials. Ivory itself is an exclusively a luxury item correlating to a person's status in their community. It's definitely not oil, water, or not even breathable air. It's a finite resource which serves no critical purpose. Elephants, on the other hand, do. Elephants are a critical resource to their environment, serving as income in regards to legalized hunting or for poor countries, and even just a wonder to the animal kingdom itself, trotting us around as the world's largest land mammal. When you break it down, I'd rather have elephants than reassurance that a wealthy person's ego isn't damaged and his feelings are hurt, because facts don't care about your feelings.